Fit for Life Radio, episode number 163. Will and Gary here.
We're doing it, baby.
We're going to touch base on some good, helpful tips while you're getting, a lot of you might be, it's January, right? So
gearing up.
You're starting your workout program, and we still see one of the biggest things. People are afraid to lift weights, afraid of resistance training, afraid of getting bulky and big, muscular, and you just have to eliminate that mindset. It doesn't happen by accident. Most of the physiques that people see and like think are, bulky and gross and are afraid of happening are enhanced anyways with drugs
and have been doing that as basically a job for how many years?
Yeah, for decades and years, and everything they do goes towards that goal. And again, pharmaceutically enhanced, right? So it doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah, you're not just gonna wake up and be like, God, Jesus, man, I put on like 40 pounds.
Yeah. So then what happens is people, well, I'm just not gonna do those things that we associate with that. But then you're missing out on massive benefits.
Oh yeah.
And like we talk about with resistance training, at the appropriate intensity, you get bone and muscle and joint and ligament benefits, right? And one of the biggest ones, especially as we age,
it's the bones, baby.
Yeah, it's bones, right? So the thing is, though, if you and everywhere it's a spectrum. You're starting. Maybe you just go in the gym and now you're there and you're just moving things around. That's a good start. Because you have to be at the gym and moving things around as a first step, right? But eventually you don't want to be wasting your time, right? And if you just go in and pick up 5-pound dumbbells and do those for years and years and years, and you could do 40 times and you just do 20 because it's high rep, and you heard that high rep is for toning, but none of that, all of that could be a waste of time ultimately. You have to provide enough stimulus to where it sends a signal to your body. There's enough tension produced to where the bone and muscle are forced to kind of respond, right? And then that's what helps the bone and muscle, build and maintain strength. So if you're just going in the gym, especially if you've been going down, you're not a newbie, and you're like, oh, high reps for toning, and I'm just going to grab the lightweight. So you're doing your dumbbell press and your rows, but you're just kind of grabbing the tens, and you're just kind of doing it.
You're just doing however many reps are said.
Just going through till it burns a little. Like, that's not going to cut it.
Nah.
You need to go in and try and at least get to 4 reps shy of failure. Mm-hmm. Meaning you're picking a weight and you're going until you could, really do like 1 to 4, only 4 more reps, right? Like, and most people, you can never get that close. Like, we think we're there, but we're actually not. So then the real reality is it's better for most people just to try to go until you could only do like none or what you would consider failure. And the reality is that's probably like 2 to 4 reps.
Yeah. I think it's hard for people
failure.
to estimate, especially like people haven't worked out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know like what does 4 reps from failure even mean. It's just so hard to gauge, right? Like, we've been doing this a long time. We would have a pretty good idea. Yeah. So. And
you can only learn by pushing yourself to failure. And again, if you're, new, especially if you're new, and even within the first couple years, you need to just be pushing your sets, like making them challenging,
mm-hmm.
and not being afraid that, I'm going to build muscle so much that I'm a Hulk. That's not going to happen. And the other thing with that is you need a lot of extra calories to do that. So if you got your diet lined up and your goal is to maintain or lose weight, you're not going to gain a bunch of muscle because you're not even providing it the calories.
You're not giving yourself a surplus, those extra calories to build.
Yeah. But you still want to be providing that tension to your muscle and bones so that it has to, they are challenged, right?
Yeah. And really the reality is, reading, what the science says, it's like an 85% load in terms of a 1 rep max.
Yeah, you need to be using heavier weights.
Yeah, so like if you could do, I don't know, let's just 100 pounds for 1 deadlift, right? That's your max you could ever do. If you're doing 50 pounds for like 10, it's not enough.
Yeah, you're not going to get the tension, bone-bearing benefits.
At that point, like, you're moving, but you're not going to get a muscular adaptation from that most likely unless you're doing a million reps.
Yeah.
And your bones aren't going to adapt either because there's not enough stress on them to cause them to say, oh, dang, like, we got to build up. Like, we need to be stronger for this. So you do need to push.
Yeah, and lift heavy, relatively.
You can't do soup cans for your whole life.
Yeah. And let's talk about a scenario we see at our gym a lot, right, where we're able to hopefully see it and at least give people the opportunity to push and get in this range. So say, we try to spend a lot of time with people doing between 6 and 10 repetitions, right, which then is typically going to be around the like 70 to 85% load. But people will be afraid to lift heavy because they don't want to get bulky. And so a common exercise, say, is dumbbell bench press, right? Yeah. And say someone can technically say their 1 rep max was with 40-pound dumbbells, right? And really we would want them between that 70 and 80% of their load and then pushing to failure with how many reps they can do with that. So that would mean
like 30-pound dumbbells?
30-pound dumbbells. The problem is most people will see who say they're maybe eventually their potential or they could do 35, 40-pound max. They should be using like 30-pound dumbbells. They'll grab 15s.
Yeah.
And then they'll just do like 15 reps and it's just a number. And
then that's it.
And they're just kind of going through the motions. Yeah. And again, if it's your first week, that's great. You're getting neurological benefits in coordination and learning movement. That's what you should do.
But if you've been at it for a while,
if it's been a few months,
those 20s, like, they're not
a few years.
They're not serving you, really.
Yeah.
They're just not, you know?
It's a warm-up.
Yeah, and is it better than 0? For sure. Yeah. However, like, that shouldn't be where we're at. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, this is just, slightly better than nothing. Like, we're there. Let's make the best of our time, and let's get all the benefits from this that we can.
So if you're going into this year, you're training, you're trying to get in the right mindset. Stop. Just get it completely out of your mind that you're going to become some muscle monster, right?
You're not going to turn into a Hulk. I promise you. We've been doing this forever, and, like, we're not Hulks.
I wish people would go after strength training the way they go after cardio.
Same.
No one has a problem. They want to do that too much, right? Where it's like, well, I'm going to push so hard, I'm out of breath and lying on my back and full of sweat, and and that's because I think people. It's funny how our perceptions and what the stories we create in our mind. It's crazy how much they dictate and can just be wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like I think people do that because they think if I'm more tired and fatigued, I will burn more fat.
Yeah, I'm burning more.
And this
calories.
is how I get skinny, right? And
that's not it.
That's not it. And then on the flip side, if I lift heavier weights and push to exhaustion with, lifting weights, I'm gonna get bulky.
Yeah.
And muscular.
And I'm gonna gain all this muscle.
Yeah, and that's not true either.
Yeah, and really the rate of muscle gain is so slow. Like, look.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
If you hit a point where you're like, hey, I like the size I'm at. I don't want to get any bigger.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you're literally.
It's not gonna sneak up on you.
You're talking. You could take a guy in his 20s, peak testosterone, and how much after the first couple months of training, the real reality is dry actual muscle tissue. Best case scenario. And this is male testosterone, doing everything right. You're, 1 pound a month.
Yeah, that's probably best case scenario.
For maybe the first year or two. And after that, 2 to 4 pounds a year.
Yeah.
So now you're talking if you're a 30, 40, 50-year-old female.
Like, it's just not going to happen.
You probably won't even gain more than a pound of muscle a year, of actual muscle tissue like that, right? So, it just eliminate it. But think, man, I should really push this hard because it's maintaining my muscle. I'm building strength. I'm building bone density.
Yeah. I'm bulletproofing yourself.
Yeah, I'm reinforcing my joints and ligaments and using. Challenging myself in this realm. So you got to shift that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, and just you're not going to get big.
And
not that there's anything wrong with that.
The root of this is we work with 40, 50, 60-year-old ladies, and the number one biggest thing we see is people age with women in particular is osteoporosis,
bone density.
And then as you get into your 60s and 70s and you start that can take you out, right? And hey, guess what the number one way to prevent that is?
Lift some weights.
Lift some weights. But again, you can't just go do soup cans.
Nah.
You got to enter into the mindset of like, yeah, we're talking you're using 70, 80% of your max capability, which it means, look,
it's hard.
You're going to pick up a weight that's 80% of your max capability. It's going to feel heavy.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like, it's okay for something to feel heavy.
Yeah.
And be difficult and be hard. Like, the reason that, as we, do this for a long time, you make sure your form is good and you're confident in your lift, but you still push within that realm. And, the longer you do it, you become more confident in yourself, going to a heavier weight. Like, no, I got this. Like, I know that I do this correctly. I'm good.
Yeah.
And you can rock and roll, But if you're always afraid of getting bulky or getting hurt, like staying in that safety zone of basically like not doing anything is not going to help you in the future.
Yep. And then second one that we see. So then when people enter, hey, like we, start an exercise again, is they just spend so much wasted time on doing things like crunches
that just don't move the needle.
And sit-ups. They're fine, throw in there every now and then, have them, change the pace.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
Some people just like to feel that burn. That's all it is. But if you're doing it in hopes of like it's going to help me get a smaller tummy, smaller waist, lose fat around these areas, no.
It literally doesn't work that way.
Not at all.
That would be like washing your car and expecting it to run better. It just doesn't connect.
Yeah. It's just not going to happen, right? And
again, not that you're going to hurt yourself doing crunches or anything, most likely.
We could.
I mean, technically could, but overall, it's just kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, you're, and depending on how much time you have, it could be this training economy time. Like, so you're using 10, 15 minutes of your week.
Of valuable resistance training time or something.
That you could be doing more effective stuff with. Yeah. And then if shrinking your waist is a priority, is a goal, you should use that time on things that will help that, which would be meal prepping, grocery shopping, basically addressing your diet, maybe your sleep and stress habits. Mm-hmm. That's where you would want to spend that, that time.
Yeah, you're not out crunching anything.
No
way.
And we see it so much, like people they'll start exercising and do no resistance training and just do ab circuits all week, right? There's a program at one of the Globo gyms where like it's like 45 minutes. You just lay on the floor and do a bunch of crunches.
And again, like that's not doing anything for anybody.
No.
They're going to make you sore.
You're not getting bone benefits. There's not enough resistance. You're just getting
just getting tired and making your abs overly sore.
Yeah.
That's it. And there's better activities you could do at that time too. I mean.
And the real reality is it's not even necessarily like the main function of your abdomen, of your core, right? It's normally to brace your spine, protect your spine. So, at our gym, we'll do a lot of things like farmer carries and variations and suitcase carries and even just regular exercises, rows and presses, right? Squats, deadlifts, those are working your core and abs a lot because, again, it's forced to do what they're supposed to do, which is help stabilize your spine.
Yeah, keep your spine safe when you're picking something off the ground or you're holding a weight and
Yeah.
squatting with it.
Not just have a bunch of, like, repeated flexion over and over and over and
Yeah.
over and over. Like, that's not
Meh.
really what's going on.
No.
So, yeah, just people don't like to hear it again, and yeah, it may feel discomforting. Like I feel comfortable because, and again, it all comes down to you got to ignore a lot of times like short term satisfaction. Yeah, I get it. You want to lose around your waist, so when you do crunches, you feel a thing there, and you're like, well, this must,
This has got to be working.
So, yeah, in the short term, it feels productive, but it literally is not. You do that over the long term, you're not going to.
And I'll ask anybody that has done that for a long time this, like how's it working? Have you seen any changes? If you've been doing crunches every day for, 5 years, has it really made an impact on that versus other things?
Yeah.
I would even say that even though it's such a basic thing, I'd rather someone go for a 10-minute walk than do 10 minutes of crunches.
Well, you want to talk
Hands
about
down.
functional exercise.
It's the best.
Walking is really the only functional exercise.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
It's what we
it's
do.
what we
baby.
do. And you're getting mental benefits. You're outside. I mean, there's so many. Now people are indoors too much. Tons of artificial light, sitting. So beyond just, hey, we're moving, it also gets us outside. It also gets us into some sunlight.
Yeah. Super important.
It's really like one of the most important things you should be doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So ditch the crunches, ditch the sissy soup can workouts.
Yeah.
Start challenging yourself.
And just work to your capacity, right? Like we all do have a different capacity and we're starting in a different place, but we should still be pushing in some regard. And that doesn't mean unsafely pushing to a place where you can't, or shouldn't be. All it means is you have the ability to do a certain amount of weight safely. You should be doing that. So that's really where we want most people to be. And it's hard. Like lifting weights isn't easy. That's the whole point, is that it is hard and we're challenging ourselves and causing our body to adapt and get a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally the whole game. Let's do something so my body goes, we need to be stronger next time, and, buffers itself a little bit in terms of muscle, tendons, ligaments, and bones, so you can be safer and do more.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we're after.
Yep.
And that supports so much in being able to do what you want to keep yourself safe so that, you're stable and you don't fall. Or if something happens, you're not just like breaking bones,
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we want people, and you got to push to do that.
Yep. And again, it's a simple, as that. And we always say, start with defining your goal, right? If your goal is like, I just want to sweat and move, cool.
Yeah.
Then do whatever. But literally, if your goal is, hey, I want to change my body composition, I want to lose fat, I want to improve my bone density, I want to prevent osteoporosis, I want to, then you need to do heavy strength training.
Yeah.
And now don't get freaked out and close your eyes, and when you hear heavy strength training, you imagine like a 350-pound man bench pressing 600 pounds. No, heavy strength training means you could be a 52-year-old lady just starting, and the most you can lift is a 30-pound dumbbell. Cool. But then you build from there, and then you don't get to decide what's heavy either. I think that's the other thing. People think, well, this is a heavy weight because it's a big dumbbell, and this is a lightweight and lightweight. No, it's all relative to your strength levels. Yeah. What are your strength levels? Well, you got to go
find out,
train and find out, and you don't get to decide. You may get strong real easily. Well, guess what? You need to keep lifting. You have to lift more weight that's appropriate to your strength levels.
I think a lot of people psych themselves out like that. They'll look at weight and be like, there's no way I can do that. Like, that weight's huge.
Yeah.
When in reality, like, well, you just did 5 pounds less. Or you were like 20 pounds less, but it looks so easy that, like, you're not, not helping yourself. And so we have to get over that looks like it's going to be too difficult.
Yeah.
You know,
And
because we do really build things up in our head, and like the mental game is important with working out.
yeah.
You know, like you do need the confidence that you can do something. And I'm not talking being overconfident or cocky, but knowing that, okay, like I can lift that weight up.
Yeah.
That's important.
And really, if you train smart,
You'll know.
your training parameters should keep you safe, and that's why we use the double progression method.
Yeah, it's great.
And so we'll use an example. I'll show you an example of how you could do something, and it's completely neurological in your brain that actually holds you back, right? So, look, you're doing 6 to 12 reps, and so then you stick with the same weight until you can master a weight and dominate it for, say, 12 reps, and then you go up in weight. So say you are doing a dumbbell press at 30 pounds, and then you get it for a beautiful 12 repetitions after working with it over time, adding reps, you get it for 12. Well, now, then, you need to go up to, say, 35 pounds, right? If you physically, literally, across the board, if you just did the 30 pounds for 12 repetitions with good form, you will be able to do 35 pounds, and for at least typically 5-6 reps.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
if you go and you pick up those weights and you do 2 reps, that's because there was a neurological block. You psyched yourself out. Your body's just, this is gonna be dangerous. I can't do this, and it sends your brain sends signals and kind of shuts your body down. And so it was which, not saying that you're wrong for that or bad.
And it is kind of a natural thing that happens, but you've got to be.
You have to trust the process and not psych yourself out. And then you would have been able to go to the 35s and done at least 4, 5, 6 reps and felt fine, right? Yeah. And then from there you work with that until, say, you can get 12 again. That's a smart way to train. Now, what a lot of people do, which is dumb, is they'll just go in and be like, I feel good today. And say the most they've ever lifted is 35, and they just feel hyped up, and they just go grab the 50s, and then you try to. That's
they grind out like 1.5 reps, and
it's ugly, and it's basically a 1 rep max. And the closer you are to your true 1 rep max, the more dangerous it is.
Yeah, it's way more risky.
Right. That's why typically, unless you're training to be like a power lifter for sport, we don't like to go lower than 5 because you can still get strength gains in that 5 to 10 range, and they've even done studies, and you get the same. On one of the studies I read recently, like there was a group that trained with 8 reps and one with 4 reps, and they both made the same strength gains. Yeah. Now, the ones who were doing then there was a group of 12 reps or 15 reps, they did not
get the same strength gains.
So the 8. So again, in that 6 to 10 is a sweet spot, right? Because you're going to get the strength gains. It's far enough away from your absolute maxes to be safer. And then when you work the double progression, you just trust the system and know that it's not going to fail you. Yeah. If you can do something for 10 or 12 reps, you'll be able to then do a little bit heavier for 5.
Yeah, it's a system that informs you about whether or not you should be going up or you have the ability to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a literal check mark of, all right, well, I can do 12 comfortably. Time to move up. And the more people use that system, the more comfortable they get with it. But you do need to trust that.
We've even seen with clients where they say we're doing a weight for 12, and they were scared to go up to the next weight. And in the group setting, you can't get everyone every rep all the time. And then you'll catch them where they've kind of been doing that same weight for the 12 reps for 2 months, and you're like, all right, well, you can go up, and they just didn't think they could, and then they did, and then they were actually 15 pounds behind, and then they got 12 with the next weight, and then they went and got 12 with another weight, and it's like they should have been using
I think that happens every week.
10, 15 pounds more than they were.
Yeah, and they didn't know because they stopped at 12 reps,
because they were afraid, because they knew. And in reality, another way they could have done it was, we'll just keep doing more reps if you could have, which will have some muscle benefit. But we noted, when you get higher in reps, you'll lose some of the bone loading. But so ultimately, you got to trust the system. Learn how to do things right and smart, and then trust the system and know that, hey, you're going to get after it and push yourself. Because if your goal is, hey, I do want to get these bone benefits, I do want to maximize fat loss. Because remember, again, most people too who say they want to lose weight, they want to lose fat, right?
Yeah,
So
no one out here wanting to lose muscle.
if you want to lose fat, you need to be resistance training so that your body's holding on to lean tissue, and then what we do lose is fat.
Yeah, because this happens with people that don't do any
Yeah.
resistance training. They'll lose a bunch of weight, and then they hit what they thought their goal was, and a lot of times will say, like, I don't like how I look.
Yeah. And point blank, you cannot maximize fat loss without resistance training.
Agreed.
If you're just diet and don't resistance train, if you just diet and do cardio and don't resistance train, you are not maximizing fat loss.
And, like, you're probably losing muscle mass, too.
Well, that's why.
You
That's
know, like,
that's the roundabout way of what
yeah.
I'm saying is because you will be losing muscle mass without resistance training.
Yeah.
So therefore, a higher percentage of the weight you lose will not be fat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's-
that- yeah.
Like, it's just, if you want to make sure you're losing, the most fat, the least muscle, you gotta lift something up.
Yep.
And to that point that we were just talking about, and that will give you the best shot. And I promise you, nobody out there is bulking up too easy.
No.
It just that's not. Cause some people genetically have more muscle. That's true, but nobody has that.
Yeah.
That's a frustrating one to hear because it's just not true. So if you think you bulk up too easy, it's just not the case.
Yeah. Well, and if you are, it's like it's fat.
Well, yeah, like you might just be eating too much food and you're continuing to add some fat to yourself.
Yeah.
you know?
We gain again. Yeah, like we talked about, you can only gain, and we even take. I mean, for most people, we even say let's even just say 6 pounds a year, which is even
Which is
too fast.
Okay, half a pound a month.
Yeah.
Which is still more than most people are going to gain, but let's put it there.
Yeah. So if all of a sudden you start lifting weights and you gained 4 pounds in a month,
Best case, half a pound of that is muscle, 3.5
is
is
fat. So hey, we got to look at our diet, right?
It is not the resistance
So if you're
training doing
that bulky, you're getting is from adding too much fat, right? Because
Yeah.
when a lot of people do start exercising, they think they can eat more, eat too much, have more cravings, and yeah, we end up just gaining fat too, right? So that's typically what that is. So again,
Yeah, so maybe if you find yourself saying that, think about it.
if you're tired of, you want to see fat loss, you want to also improve bone density, prevent osteoporosis, things like that, you need to lift, you need to train hard, you need to get it out of your mind that like lifting heavy is going to make you
bad.
bulky. You need to get after it. You need to trust the process. And then also the other spin of that, people, starting out this time of year, don't waste your time on too much crunches.
No,
It's not going to whittle away at your waist. It's not going to, you can't spot reduce.
can't.
So use that time for your nutrition, use that time for resistance training. And yeah, ditch those two old school
Maybe just go for a walk.
mindsets. Yeah.
Go for a little walkie.
Look, we don't preach it just cuz we want to like be right.
Nah, like
This is just
what it is.
Lift weights, walk, manage your food intake. Those are going to be your biggest
Yeah.
rocks.
And you know what? I'll add to that. Do things that you find are fun. Fun activities, whatever you enjoy,
Yeah.
like go do it and
Yeah.
have fun doing it.
If you-
because that's important too.
If you have fun doing crunches, go for it, but make sure you do your effective stuff first,
you
and
don't
then
want those to be to the detriment of something else
Yeah.
more important. So
Yep.
we're not saying don't do them, but don't make it your top priority.
Yep. All right. Well, that's that. Let us know if you have any thoughts, questions, topics you want to hear.
Yeah,
We're here for you.
we got you. We'll go over it.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Catch you next time. As always, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to learn more, check us out at coastalfitnessva.com or garydeagle.com. We'll see you next time.